Hey everyone, and welcome back to the program. So in this segment, we're going to talk about a 24-minute meditation, and that meditation is broken up into four parts: a 4-minute segment, a 7-minute segment, a 10-minute segment, and a 3-minute segment at the end. So if you have an app that you like to use where you can set increments and chimes to go off at those different segments, please go ahead and use that. Brian and I use an app called Seconds, or Seconds Pro, which is available, I know, for the iPhone and also through the Google Play Store. So if you have a smartphone, you should be able to get it. And Brian actually created a custom timer for this exact meditation, and we were hoping that we'd be able to share it through our platform, but unfortunately that did not work out. So in lieu of doing that, I'm going to walk you guys through how to recreate that exact timer that Brian made at the end of this video. So if you're interested in learning about how to do that, you can stick around to the end. Otherwise, enjoy the show.
Perfect. So first we should say, the context of this. Why are we using this meditation? Before we get into the details, just so that people have a broad vision of what's going on. I mean, one of the things that we're doing is making or trying to make our dream life much more like our waking life, in the fact that the things that happen in our waking life we transfer into the dreaming world, right? So that it facilitates us with more opportunities to become lucid in our regular dreams, right? Because that's, in the beginning, that's the most common way to get in, right? Is from a dream-induced lucid dream, or a dialed, right? So D-I-L-D, right? So when you see that acronym, it just means dream-induced lucid dream, meaning that you start in a regular dream and then something cues you within the dream to become lucid, meaning, again, you wake, you have your waking consciousness in the dream itself, and you're dreaming, and then we move from there, right? So, so this meditation, it just facilitates that idea and sort of programs you how that would work. And there are a couple of stages to it, but this is the first stage, and we want to get that part down. So the first thing, like Dustin said, doing it optimally, you could do this anytime, but optimally, I like it to be either first thing in the morning when I'm getting up, or right before I go to bed. So again, close to that transition time of sleep and wake, right? So if I do it when I first get up, I'm still kind of in that groggy, sleepy state, right? I just sort of stumble into my place and sit down and start going through it. And so, but right before bed is kind of like, it's, I'm anticipating this happening and sort of projecting that this will happen in my normal sleeping that night, right? So I'm projecting that this is what I want to happen. Again, the more attention that we put on those things, the more the subconscious starts to go, ooh, they're really making some conscious effort here. This must be important. Let me help facilitate this activity. So that being said, how do we do this? So the first 4 minutes are basically the fourfold breath, which, if you've done other parts of this program, you've done that before. You may have done it even if you're brand new to this program. You may have done it, and sometimes it's used different names, like box breathing by the SEALs, square breathing. I think there's another tradition that uses a different name too, but fourfold breathing is what we use because that's what I learned as far as a name. But they're all the same technique, okay? So the idea is that, you don't have to visualize anything or anything like that. You're literally just trying to, and again, I would highly recommend you use a metronome so that you keep it very stable, very, like literally the beat is exact. And the reason behind that is because the effect that it has is balancing your autonomic nervous system, but balancing the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, those aspects of your autonomic nervous system, balancing them together so they're equal status. And so in doing that, it sort of puts you in this very neutral place, and much easier when we go to the body relaxation. It's a nice, simple flow to move into that after that. So it's sort of, again, staging yourself down into a much better state of mind when you start the actual going through the visualization, which is stage 3, right? So when I do the box breathing, I'm just starting, and I'm thinking every 4 beats, I'm breathing in, 2, 3, 4, holding my breath, 2, 3, 4, letting my breath out, 2, 3, 4, holding my breath at the bottom, 2, 3, 4, right? And just continuing this pattern, just continuing the pattern as stable and as easy as you can. If you have a click track, metronome playing, again, which is, there is one on that seconds program, that when you do that, it's just, you don't have to think about counting, right? It's just like breathing in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, and you just keep it going, right? So it's like 4 minutes of doing that. And again, there'll be a little timer on there, or you can make your own where it just, there's a ding or some kind of indicator that says, okay, you've done 4 minutes of that. Then you move into stage 2, right? So stage 2 is the body relaxation. And again, there are versions of that in parts of our other programs, and we've done short ones and long ones. This one happens to be the short one. And so it's basically taking much larger territories of the body and starting from the head and moving down in segments. And again, just a quick review, it's like you started with the head, and then, the throat and neck area, the shoulders and arms territory, the chest in general, which also includes the upper back, right? So that territory on both sides of the body. So that chest area, and then directly in the center where the heart is, and then the abdomen, and then it goes behind for the lower back from the kidneys down, basically. And then the whole pelvic region, then the upper legs, so the thighs, then the knees, then the shins, and finally the feet, right? So just those 12 segments going through it, and just a nice, easy relaxation. Again, it's your own breathing pace, and we put it in at 7 minutes. That's a pretty decent amount of time to do that. It's not going to be profound relaxation at this point, but you're going to move more toward that. As you get better at relaxation, you're doing it more often, it's going to get easier and easier and easier, right? So, but 7 minutes is a good sort of middle territory to relax the whole body. And again, if it's at night before you're going to bed, or when you first wake up, it shouldn't be hard for you to move into that body relaxation. The third stage is the stage where you're actually training your mind to run through, and you're picking ahead of time, a dream that you've already had. Now, it could be a lucid dream, or it could be just a regular dream, something that had an impact on you, right? And we always want to choose something that has some emotion behind it. Positive, negative, it doesn't really matter. It's just literally you want something, if you can, if they're not all just neutral, crazy dreams, right? One that has a little bit of an impact on you. So, and I can use the same one over and over for this exercise. It doesn't have to be a different one all the time, or you could switch it up, right? But usually I just try to use the same one as an instigator, right? So, and this part of the segment is 10 minutes, and usually there's a break right in the middle, right? So about 5 minutes in. And the idea is that I run through that dream, I've relaxed my body, and I'm running my mind and running the dream over in my mind, and just taking my time and going through it, really trying to feel, the different aspects of it. And then at some point within that 10-minute span, right, there's a point that you'll identify that says like, oh, here was a transition place, or here was a place where things got, a little squirrely, or whatever it is, right? And so I usually pick those places that jump out at me just a little bit, right? So when they do, or places that, like when you remember sequences in the day, it's sort of like, this is the positive aspect of like, ooh, if I did that again, I'd say this here when they said that. And they, so we project into those things. So we can use that same idea in a positive way, because usually that's not so positive for us when we do those things, right? But in this case, it is, because we want that place to be a trigger for us. And so what happens is, at that moment, when we come to that place in the dream, in our mind, replaying it, I say to myself, this is the place where I become lucid. And so I sort of, in my mind, it's like that at that point, I sort of change the dream, right? I think I'm awake in my dream, and I'm lucid dreaming right now. And so from there, things get, much more bright. You can see them that way. You're much more involved, and you change the dream at that point, right? So it's like you move off under your own volition. So that sort of is in the territory of almost a shamanic journey, right? Where you're just sort of, you're moving through and you have sort of a goal in mind, and you move through the woods and go down the tree roots, and you sort of make something up as you go along, right? So you could fly at that point, whatever you're bringing to mind as a something that would be really adventurous for your lucid dream, right? And so you're just letting your mind go and letting your imagination run with you in that place, but always being conscious, like, this is a dream. Oh my gosh, I'm flying. I'm going through the clouds. I'm flying to the moon. I'm diving into the ocean, swimming with the whales, whatever, right? It's like whatever is good for you. And so, and just enjoy that imagination play out for you. And when the timer goes off, then you go into that fourth stage, which is, think about the journey you just had, and as if it was a real lucid dream that you were in, and what kind of gratitude you would have for having that experience, right? Because, we don't generally go for those, imaginative runs, for bad things, right? It's like, usually it's something fantastical, right? The more fantastic, the better, right? And the more relaxed you are, you could have surprises within that too, which is ideal if that's the situation. Things come up that you weren't even planning on, right? And you're sort of really engaged in that. The more you relax, the better that is. And so, but when you come out of it, it's like, oh my God, that was an awesome meditation. And so that awesome feeling that you have, and gratitude, right, as the primary emotion for that, then you're going to just emote that, right? You're going to concentrate on your heart, the physical location of your heart, and doing that open focus kind of meditation. So first a minute there with gratitude and just thinking about that point, right? And it's just bringing your awareness to that point. You don't have to visualize it. You just bring your awareness, because we know when we bring our awareness to someplace, then energy moves to that spot. It collects in that point, right? So we do it with the heart, and then the space around that heart, right? For a length of time, right? Whatever's good for you, whatever's easy. And then again, going from there, again, extending it outward, like my aura around my body, right? You don't have to visualize it. It's literally just like you're asking your subconscious these questions, right? Because when you ask it the question, it wants to produce an answer for you. Like in that feeling of gratitude while you're doing this, you're saying, can you sense the energy of space, in my heart? Can you sense the energy of space around my heart? Can I sense the energy of space around my body? And maybe even farther, maybe you extend it even farther, depending on how much time you have to do this, right? You don't want to rush it. And at the same time, it's like you're really just extending your senses out, but always with that attitude of gratitude, basically. When you do that, it's really going to give the signal to your subconscious that this is an important exercise, and that you're projecting ahead of time what it is that you're trying to achieve. And the more often you do this, the better it's going to be, because again, you're already, it's not just a pure creation in your mind, right? It's like you're starting out with something you've already had, and your subconscious knows exactly what dreams you've already had, right? And so this one was, somehow more pertinent than the others, right? Had more oomph to it. So that's why we use that type. And so it starts to put more value toward them. And when it puts more value toward them, it's going to want to repeat them more and more and more. And so you're giving it that idea that this is a value to me, high value to me, produce more of the same. And so, you'll have more opportunities. It will really accelerate, your sort of tripping into, a lucid dream, from a dream state. So that's why we do this. And it's a nice practical exercise, and, have fun with it. Don't make it too strict, right? But you just want to really try to get into that great anchored in state, and then go through the imagination part, transition it into lucidity, let it run, and, have fun with it, go with it. And then at the end, again, that open focus and kind of bringing it out with that idea of gratitude for the experience that you've had. And that will really seal the deal and get your subconscious online and really get it to, value it as highly as you do now.
Right. So for some people, I'm sure that the last 2 weeks where they were just starting to write down and record their dreams, for some people that may be like the first exercises that they've done with the intention of remembering greater and greater quantities of, dream content. So would you, if it was somebody that was basically just only had fragments of their dreams still,
Oh,
just,
sure.
could they still?
So yeah, so what I would do with that is just substitute, like instead of substituting a dream, which you don't have at this point, let's say, just take a clip from a movie that you really enjoy, but you're putting yourself in the role of a character or whatever it is, and in a vital scene that has, some emotional content for you, right? And then at that point where you become, you're the character and you become, lucid at that state, and then you change it and move into your own adventure. And that's how I would do that, because it'll represent pretty much the same thing, right? So it's like you've watched it on TV, you've experienced it, it's an emotional thing. You don't want to take something that's boring and dead to you, right? It's like you want to do something that's, take your favorite movie and, your Batman or whatever it is, right? Or, Sound of Music, traipsing through the Alps or whatever it is, right? You're singing, and you become that character, and then you become lucid as if it was a dream, and then you change it, right? You change the whole thing. You do the thing that's supposed to be happening, or you're letting it take off with you. You're letting your imagination kind of run. It's always. It's really fun to do that. So I think that's a really good idea. And so for frequency, for the next 2 weeks, I mean, minimum, I would say at least twice a week to do this. 3 times a week is sort of like, a decent moderate level. More than that, you're really going to, you're hedging on the side of really adding value, or telling your subconscious that there's a lot of value in this and that you're really looking forward to this eventuality. So, go from there. But I would say at least twice a week for the next 2 weeks minimum. I think you'll really enjoy this one. So it probably won't be that difficult for you to do, other than maybe doing it first thing in the morning and getting up a little early to do it, or, having that be the end of the night routine right before you go to bed. Of course, there are benefits to that, right? So you're training yourself out. Okay, now I'm going to go to sleep, and now I'm probably going to go into this, right? So, and that can be, a nice anticipation for that eventual, that event, right?
Right.
So,
And with the second stage of the meditation, where we're going through the relaxation, for anybody that's not maybe familiar with going through the relaxation process as we train it, of course, in the burning meditation, the short and long version of that meditation are mostly differentiated by one has a very long relaxation process and one has a shorter relaxation process. And the relaxation process that you're recommending people go through during that 7-minute, the second stage of this meditation, is that exact same one, that 12 stage, bringing your awareness to these different parts of your body and simply giving yourself the command to relax.
right.
And, so if anyone wanted to review that process, again, go back to the burning meditation section and re-listen to the short form of it. And Brian really takes you through that whole process. And the one thing that I wanted you to re-emphasize, though, was that you don't, like you said, similar to that final stage of the meditation where you're bringing your awareness to your heart and the space around your heart, as you bring your awareness to these different parts of the body, you don't have to visualize it or try to get them to relax. Simply bringing your tactile awareness to these different places will promote the relaxation of the body, right?
Right, absolutely, and thanks for bringing that up, because it is something that's easy to forget. And because if people have done meditations for a long time or whatever, they're used to visualizing, right? It's like everything needs to be visualized, and this is not the case, right? awareness and visualization are two different things, right? So again, just, we're usually unconscious of things until we bring our awareness of it, right? So if I say your right earlobe, most people weren't aware of their right earlobe until I said the word, and then they already start to feel something there, heat or tingling or whatever it is, right? So your awareness went to that place, and what you're feeling is that energy, the sensation that the energy brings by being accumulating in that spot more from your awareness being there, right? It's just a shift in awareness. It's not like I'm visualizing my earlobe to make that happen. So the same thing with this. So when we're saying, bring your awareness to your head, it just means you don't have to visualize your head, or any aspect of it. It's literally, you're just sensing it. You're bringing your awareness there and feeling the sensations of that, and the sensations of maybe tension, and then relaxing that and seeing, oh, there is some tension there. That's starting to relax. My jaw is starting to relax. My brow is starting to relax. And the same thing with all the other places down. You don't have to visualize it. Just bringing your awareness there will accumulate energy around that space and help it to relax when you give it that command. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That's always a good thing to reiterate.
Right. And the other thing was, the other day we were talking about the inner senses of the imagination, of sight and smell and hearing and taste, and how our imagination or our inner world is actually like incredibly rich, and the range of the human imagination is absolutely incredible, so much so that we can use our imagination to project realities around us that can be experienced as real as what we experience physically with our physical senses right now.
Right.
And when we were talking about that, you were saying that the relaxation of the body, the deeper you relax the body, the more those senses come up. So for anybody that, as you're going through that part where you're imagining a dream you had and turning it into a lucid dream, or doing it with like a movie or something like you suggested.
Right.
All of those things can be enhanced simply by a deeper state of relaxation, letting go more and more into that.
Yeah, remember, your physical body is the anchor, for this physical reality, right? It's the vessel that you wander around in, right? It carries your mind around in this territory. It's the vehicle, right? But if we want to accentuate, the senses are internal senses, right? And so we have to release the amount of energy that we're utilizing, keeping the senses aware and awake in the physical body, right? So that's why we close our eyes to cancel out some of that stimulus. Maybe we'll use earplugs or headphones that just cancel out the noise, right? And obviously, if we're not using incense, there's very little smell, right? And hopefully you're not eating a donut at the same time you're doing this, right? Or something.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't facilitate the meditation.
Right. and the tactile sensation, of course, because it's the whole body, as we're going through it, we're obviously going through that for the relaxation, right? We bring our awareness to our head and we're sensing it tactilely, right? And so looking for muscle tension and things like that. When we get into the other areas of it, maybe you have some back pain or neck pain or whatever, you're going to feel that, and that's sort of locked into that place. That's tactile sensation, right? Whether it's internal muscle or external. And then as I bring energy there and then relax that, it lets that go, right? I relax the pain, I relax the muscles. It's an interesting process. We get more and more into that exact process because it's such a critical thing. I mean, I know I wax on about relaxation so much, but it's such an incredible skill to have. And it really is a skill at those deeper levels. I mean, everybody can go, okay, we're going to do a meditation now. We're going to take 3 deep breaths and relax. I'm like, why? That's not relaxation. That's just sort of like clearing your lungs, so it's there's obviously that little cursory relax, but it's not really relaxation. I mean, again, the idea is that your meditation will work to the extent that you can relax the physical body and the senses down, right? So the more that you can take energy from them and shunt it into your interior world, into the invisible world inside of you, you're going to produce more effect from your meditation. And that's a skill that has to be learned over time. So we'll go on and do that more and more and more. So to start learning it right from the beginning is you couldn't spend time better when you're learning spiritual or esoteric energetic exercises, right? Than putting time learning how to really relax the body down and shunt that energy directly inside to produce a much more vivid interior life, right? So that's the idea. So, yeah.
So I think that's clear, and I'm excited to do it. So I got a couple dreams I want to turn into lucid dreams. So
there you go.
yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, guys. And again, that's 2 or 3 times minimum per week to start to see some results.
I would say 2 times minimum. 3 times is usually that breaking point where you're putting a little more in the bank than you had, and more than that is just, that's awesome. That's really, you're really stacking the deck in your favor.
Right. Well, my ass is on the line, so I'm going to be doing it like every day. So. All right. Good luck with it, you guys. Let us know how it goes, and we'll talk to you soon. Right?
Great.
All right. Hey, guys. So to create the timer for this meditation, the first thing you're going to need to do is get the Seconds app. And if you click the link right below this video that goes to this website, runloop.com/seconds-pro, you can click on either one of these buttons to download it in the App Store or get it on the Google Play Store. Okay. And so once you have it set up on your phone, you're going to want to open the app, and this is the timer that we're going to be recreating. This is his timer, the Lucid Dream Meditation Timer. And it's pretty straightforward. There's only one thing that's really unique about it, and that's that there is a click track built into the fourfold breath segment, and I thought that part was really nice. So to recreate this timer, you're going to hit that plus sign in the upper right-hand corner of the app. You're going to select Custom Timer, give it a name. So Lucid Dream Meditation. And then tap on Exercise 1 to modify all the settings for that. You're going to name it, fourfold breath. The color was purple. And at the bottom here, you'll see it says cadence and beats per minute. So originally, Brian built in 56 beats per minute. So if you want to use that and that's a comfortable pace for you, then go ahead with that. I actually slowed mine down a little bit, but if you increase the number, it's going to be a lot faster. If you decrease it, it'll be much slower. So then you're going to click on Add Exercise. We're going to name that Relax the Body. And the duration should be 7 minutes. And actually I forgot in the fourfold breathing, we're going to make the duration 4 minutes, right? And then add exercise, and should be 10 minutes. And we'll call it Lucid Dream Induction or Recognition. And I think it was that dark purple color. So, if you're into the little details like that. And then the final exercise was gratitude and open focus heart. And the duration on that one was 3 minutes. Great. Or not 30 seconds, 3 minutes, right? And the only other thing that we did with this was, instead of using the default beeps, if you click on where it says extras and then alerts, default beeps, you can change it to be one of these nice meditation sounds. And we used the Tibetan bell. And I really like that. So whenever I create timers with this app, I'm always using that chime because it's just a really nice sound. And that's it. So now when you'll see that, it's actually at the top there, the new one that we've created. And when you're ready to go, you just tap on fourfold breathing or the play button in the bottom right-hand corner, and you should be ready to go. So enjoy, and let me know how it goes.